Well, good morning and welcome to our Saturday morning live edition of Bailey the Bookman. As usual, coming to you from Bailey Books, located here in St. Albert, Alberta. Today, it is about -10 or so. It's been snowing like a bugger, all night and still this morning. Windy. So, what we call spring here in our neck of the woods. Not sure what the weather's like where you are, but I hope you're inside and maybe enjoying it on your balcony or however you can best do that. Yes, it is. So maybe you want to grab yourself a beverage, warm or cold or whatever best suits your needs for this morning, and we're going to carry on today. This morning, I want to talk about, because it's Saturday. I want to talk for a few minutes, nothing to do with books whatsoever. Saturday morning cartoons, and my favorites growing up were Bugs Bunny, Looney Tunes. You know, those crazy ones. Sometimes a bit inappropriate, but I didn't even quite understand that when I was a kid. But I've tried to model my life after some of the cartoon characters that I grew up watching Saturday mornings. Uh, Morning Fun Day Coast. What did you say? Sunny and 8. Excellent. That's way better than here right now. Good morning to the CFO, Deanna. Hope you're staying inside, safe and sound. So yes, uh, as a kid growing up, my two older brothers and I, every Saturday morning, it was a ritual. Boom, downstairs, on came the cartoons, and they were on for like, I don't know, an hour, 2 hours. It seemed like all morning. Um, Sometimes you kind of get time a little mixed up from your childhood memories, but anyways, Saturday mornings, it was cartoon times. Mom and Dad got a chance to sleep in because we were riveted to what was going on. Laughter might have been a little much sometimes, but uh, what's that, Doc? Hey, Rob, how you doing, buddy? Hope you're well today. Who's your favorite Looney Tunes character, Rob? Um, and D. D's little. Did you grow up watching the Looney Tunes, D? Uh, One of my all-time favorites. Boy, one of my all-time favorites, Leghorn. That's right. Come on, Rob. Really? He was yours too? Because you're about as sharp as a bowling ball, boy. A bowling ball. Okay, I'm not doing these from memory. Some of my favorites. Oh, goodness me. Um, I said, pay attention to me, boy. I'm not just talking to hear my head roar. Come on, everyone's saying Foghorn Leghorn. Because Looney Tunes, it was like, of course, Bugs Bunny. He was like the Wayne Gretzky, right? You could actually make a very good comparison between the Looney Tunes lineup and the Oilers of the '80s, because you had Gretz, who was way up here, and then you've got Bugs Bunny, who was way up there, and then you had all of these stunning support characters, the Daffy Ducks and Yosemite Sam. I loved Yosemite Sam. um, Sylvester the Cat. He was an awesome one. Wiley Coyote, of course. I always liked the Coyote better than the Roadrunner. Roadrunner just annoyed me for some reason. It's like, come on, catch him, catch him. Um, so yeah, it was like wonderful, wonderful stuff. I think my appreciation of classical music developed from watching the Looney Tunes, because they used a lot of really great pieces of music in the cartoons, and that I think, as far as I know, that was my first exposure to classical music, and I've loved it ever since. Um, it taught us about comedy. And like I say, some of it was a little rough around the edges, more reflection of its time than anything. Um, I was astounded when I found out that Mel Blanc did all of the voices. One guy did all of those voices. About 99.9 of them anyway. Let me think. Bugs Bunny, for me. Let's face it, he was a bit of a cross-dresser. Loved to dress up in drag all the time, and that taught me that you should be allowed to be whoever you are and feel comfortable in any way you want to be. So I think way back then they were teaching us inclusivity. Let's go with that. We met the McKimson brothers years ago. They were lead artists. Oh, really? Oh, that'd have been awesome. I admired Wiley for his dedication and persistence. Yeah, right. Or just like, oh man, dumb as a post, buddy. Come on, figure it out. I always just I wanted to buy shares in the Acme company. Because man, and where could you? I mean, I needed the address because you could get anything from Acme. Morning, Christy in Seattle. Lovely to see you. How's you and the little Jacks and the big Jacks? You guys staying well? I'm hoping. I'm good. Anyways, some more Foghorn Leghorn quotes. I said that boy just like a tattoo gets under your skin. Nice girl, but about as sharp as a sack of wet mice. I said go away, boy. You bother me. I said stop it, boy. I said stop it. You're doing a lot of chopping, but no chips are flying. Okay, that's all of my Foghorn Leghorn renditions. So, just to back up, any other thoughts about Saturday morning cartoons? I bet you they're way different now than they were when I was a kid. Well, everything is because I'm really old, but loved it. I just sometimes I go onto YouTube and I'll watch some of those old episodes, and it's just like going home. We're good. Day 16 of quarantine lockdown. Oh, happy to have this entertainment. My gosh, 16 days with the little guy must keep you busy. Trying to think of new ways to stay entertained and stay busy and not go bonkers. I'm sure you're doing an excellent job. So usually we start off our what are these broadcasts? That's what we'll call them. Sure. Day 13 for Fun Day. Yeah. Well, we're just going to keep grinding, right? We're going to grind it through. We'll get through to the end, and then we'll carry on and whatever we need to adapt to, and towards that end. We need to be safe. We need to be thoughtful. We need to all stay healthy. Look out for our friends, our neighbors, our families, of course, and do whatever we can do to get through this together, because we will. And if you can support a local business in some way, shape, or form, maybe it's a gift card, maybe it's calling your favorite restaurant, and like I read in this morning that here in St. Albert at the Cajun House, I think it was, they phoned in an order, they drove to the parking lot, paid with Square, which is contactless. Someone from the restaurant came out the parking lot. Here's your order. Thank you very much. And away they go. And excellent. They get some wonderful food from Cajun House. Cajun House gets some business, keeps some folks working, and keep grinding away. Wish I didn't have 17 kids living with me at home. 17, Rob? Something you want to share with us? Oh, it's just 4. That's right. Yes, indeed. But 4 good ones, Rob. 4 excellent ones, keeping you on your toes. So anyways, if you can, as I was saying, support a local business in some way if you can, even if it's moral support, just reaching out and just, letting them know we're here. We're going to be here when we get through it and things revert to some sense of normalcy, and we'll carry on. Because lots of these businesses are struggling. Okay, so let's talk about some book stuff then. Now we'll get serious. No, not really. A few years ago, if you've watched some of these episodes, I have attended the American Academy of Bookbinding down in Telluride, Colorado. And that's where I have studied to become a bookbinder. So every year down in the U.S., they do a convention, and they pick a city somewhere in the states, and all the bookie bindery type people all congregate there for a weekend and celebrate books, and there's a fair and all sorts of really really fun stuff going on. They're wonderful to attend. Well, this year, or that year rather, it was in Salt Lake City. And prior to that, the American Academy was coming up on its 20th anniversary. I think D, you might be right about that. So to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the American Academy of Bookbinding, they being the school, wanted to celebrate that. And of course, what better way than to create a book about the school, about some of the history, some of the instructors, that sort of thing. So I'm not sure who exactly kind of nailed down this whole project, but they started for some help to get it done. So I have a little bit of a background in photography. Just a studious amateur as a photographer. So what the idea was, we have two instructors. Well, more than two, but two of our instructors, Don Glaister and Monique Lallier, are world-class, top-of-the-line bookbinders, and they don't get much better than those two. So the idea was, because they've studied, Don and Monique had studied back in the day through their careers in slightly different techniques in bookbinding. So the idea was to set them side by side at a workbench and hand them a set of sheets, and exact same, everything is exactly the same, and have them bind them together at the same time and see which of their techniques were similar, which were dissimilar, what kind of a design would they use for the book, what kind of colors, all of that. And we would document that and then put it into a book. Well, I volunteered to do the photography for it. Susan did a lot of the writing for it. Deb did a lot of the coordination and overall kind of coordination of it, and was really kind of the quarterback driving it. We had lots of other folks that were involved with it too. So it was Dawn, Deb, Monique, Susan, myself, and Don. We had two Dons, plus some other folks. That was quite a list that made this all work. Thank you, Deanna, but you're a little bit biased. I know you are. So while we were in Salt Lake City, we went a few days early, and we got all set up. And if I recall, it was in a church basement, and we set up Don and Monique with all of the exact same materials to bind their book, and away we went. Took us about 3 days, if I recall, 2-3 days, and it was one of the most wonderful experiences of my life, being part of that team and helping create this book. So, as it turns out, this is the end result, and it's called Imagine a beautiful book. You can see there's some blind stamping in there. This is a paper wrap that comes with it. Um, and of course, being the kind of book freak that I am, I love signed stuff. I got everyone to sign my copy for me. I'm so pleased. The book is basically divided into two parts. One is the history of the American Academy of Bookbinding on its 20th anniversary, which is really quite extraordinary. And then the second part is us documenting the bookbinding process. So, and it was fun to watch these two bookbinders work side by side because wanted to look over and say, "You're doing it wrong," and go, "No, you're doing it wrong," and it was all in very good fun. And this is Don and Monique. I hope you can see that. Wonderful people, so generous, sharing their knowledge and talents. This is one of my favorite pictures that I took during the process. You can see it was all so serious, right? No fun at all. No fun at all. So here's a typical Don Blaster quote. He says, "Basically, this is the same as Monique's, only different." Okay, Don. So this is the setup where they were working. So you can see they worked actually side by side, elbow to elbow, building their books and utilizing slightly different but similar techniques. As I say, it was really awesome to be a part of. And here's I took a lot of pictures for this, and luckily I didn't have to select them. Other people on the team went through, selected the pictures, and wrote all of the material that goes with it. It was quite a project. So for me, that was like I say, it was a really neat experience. And so lo and behold, this is from the Guild of Bookworkers. These are the folks that organize the yearly get together. And this arrives in the mail one day at home. And I'm going, "Holy smokes, that's my picture. Wow, yay, that's pretty cool." Yeah, so oh, awesome. Here's a picture of the team that was pretty instrumental in making this project come to fruition. So, and there's a picture of the two Dons, Don Glaister and Don Etherington, two giants of the bookbinding world. And one of the neatest things about being involved with this was, excuse me, was being invited to Washington, D.C. to the Folger Shakespeare Library. You should see this place. Oh my goodness. They obviously, we can tell by the name, they specialize in all things Shakespeare bindings. It's just an astounding place. That's where the launch for the book was held, and I managed to convince Dee that it was a good idea I should go. Washington, D.C. is a really neat city. If you've never had a chance to visit it, at some point in the future, obviously you may want to go there. Anyway, we went to the Folger, launched the book, and there was a big reception, and it was all so much fun. It was great. Excuse me. So, and then a copy of this went into the Library of Congress. So I'm kind of proud of that. that a book that I was involved with is actually in the Library of Congress and is preserved there forever. Right? Okay. So, what else can I tell you about that? Well, um, I guess that's about it. Except, well, here's an awesome quote from Monique Lallier, and it kind of explains, I think, for a lot of us bookbinders, how we do it. And her quote is, "You make a beautiful book because it's your pleasure, your passion," and that is very true. Okay. Any questions about the American Academy or bookbinding in general? Feel free to shout them out for me this morning. Um, I love to talk about the bookbinding and bookbinding process, and happy to do that. Let's see. I don't think I have. Oh, hey Rob, you paying attention? I have a joke, and this one might apply to Deanna as well. It says, so I want to know why you keep buying books when you already have a stack of 100 to be read books by the bedside, and I'm wondering if you have any shelf control at all. Shelf control. Okay. Oh, Mr. Frederick Spector, welcome. Late as usual. You know, it's okay. You can watch these on the channel later because there are content. Back to binding. Hey, I never professed to be any kind of a stand-up or funny guy, so you're the one that asked for these, Rob. You're going to get them. Here's a publication that I subscribe to, and if you like books, in any way, not even as a binder or a collector or a reader, this is the magazine for you. And it comes out every 3 months, 4 months, and for instance, they talk about fairs, exhibits, and auctions that are coming up. They talk about libraries, the history of libraries. It's a little kind of American centric, but that's okay. They talk about worldwide book collecting. Sometimes they'll do a profile on a high profile collector, and they can. I like the ads in this magazine because maybe you are a collector or a binder. I mean, there's information about tools and events and all sorts of stuff, and it's an actual printed magazine, gets delivered to your home just like the old days. So if you're looking for a magazine to subscribe and support that's still in the actual print form, and you love books, this would be an awesome publication for you to consider. Um, a question. I'll brace myself. What's the question, Rick? Dun, 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 dun. Rick's typing. I didn't get much feedback about other favorite Looney Tune characters. 2 out of 2 called a Foghorn Leghorn, which outstanding pick, by the way. Okay, Rick, are you typing? Christy, you remember this? When we were in Seattle last time, a couple of years ago now, I guess. Of course, I'm a huge, you can see over my shoulder, Bruce Lee fan. And Christy took us down to the marketplace there, and we're shopping and looking around, just checking all the really cool things out that are available there. And we're walking down the street, and there's a t-shirt shop. And I walk by and I look over. There's the man right there. And I've been looking for Bruce Lee t-shirts forever. Could never find any. Of course, boom, in we went. Got one right away. So I need to come back to Seattle and get some more. Pike Market, that's the one. Thanks, T. Yeah. Okay. The past, the present, and the future walk into a bar. It was tense. Okay. That's all I got. I'm out of jokes. No more jokes. Okay, Rick. What's the question? Oh, that's right. That's right. At Pike's Market, you can they'll throw a fish at you, and you have to catch the fish and they wrap it up, and everyone stands around and watches, hoping that you catch that giant fish right in the kisser. I managed to avoid that part, but that was fun. I'd never had a fish thrown at me, especially one that size. Made the big catch, boom, pulled it in. That was fun. We need to go back there, AD. Soon as it's possible, we'll go back. uh, Frederick, Mr. Spector, what's the question? Because we're getting close to wrapping up here for today. Just glance out the window, see that I think it stopped snowing, so we might take the head of security for a little walk around the crescent here and get her some fresh air. It's there. Where? Here's a question for you. I do not see the question. Kate, how are you? Hey. Kate's one of my favorite nieces because she's watching. The favoriteest book I have ever restored. Ooh. That is a really good question. It's funny. It's one of the most satisfying was a young lady came into the shop one day, and she had a paperback Harry Potter, and it's the large kind of format. It was, and she came in and she was clearly upset, and she's holding this stack of papers, really, and she came in and saying, "This is my Harry Potter book, and I've read it so much it's fallen apart." And she goes, "Here's a big stack of papers." She says, "Could you fix my Harry Potter book for me?" So, of course, I could. So I took her Harry Potter book and we put it back together so it was a book again. And she was so thrilled. She was so happy. I mean, and it wasn't like a complex repair or anything, but the result was really satisfying. Good question, Kate. Thanks. And I hope you're well. I hope you and the whole clan are staying safe and social distancing and being smart, right? It didn't post, Frederick. If it's over 200 characters, it won't show. Learn something new every day. Okay, you have to ask short, incisive questions. YouTube also blocks some words and phrases, therefore the whole post won't show. YouTube, man, who do they think they are? Oh, yeah, the people in control, I guess. I have, going back to Kate's question, I've restored a lot of rebound, repaired, a lot of family Bibles. And some of them, all of them actually, have some very personal connections to people. It was their fathers, it was their mothers, it's been the family Bible. And back in the day, those Bibles were were basically the family history books. They recorded um, marriages, and births, and baptisms, and deaths in the family, and all sorts of information. And that's really was how you accommodated the genealogy for the family. So I had are all bound books hardbound. Uh, gee, um, I'm going to say no, but I'm trying to think of an example. Maybe you have one, Rick. Is that a trick question? um, I mean, there's no reason that you couldn't bind a book without with soft covers, or laminate wraps, or some kind of a hide. And Bibles are a good example of that. I guess you see lots of limp bindings on those. Um, Hand bound are all bound books. Oh, hand bound. um, well, well, I guess it depends on the definition of hand bound. Um, I- oh, I see. All bound books, hand bound. Um, for the most part, yes. I mean, you can go and you know these are machine bound, and it's typical kind of a hardcover book. You'd go to Indigo chapters, and machines just pump them out, right? Um, this is oh, tough crowd today. Uh, um, I'm not really sure how to answer that, Rick. Are all bound books hand bound? Well, all the books I bind are bound by hand. I don't use any machines. Uh, I mean, presses and so on and so forth are. I mean, all the sewing, the paper making, the gluing, the cutting is. Well, sometimes you use a board shear in there if you've got one. Um, on average, how long does it take to rebind an old book? It just depends. Depends what it needs. Some are, you can put back together in a very short period of time, like in a matter of hours, a couple of hours. Others, if you need to pull them completely apart, resew the text block, do repairs on the boards, do paper repairs on the inside. If you have to, match some color or leather. I mean, it can take quite a while and get quite involved. So each one is an individual um, period of time to get the proper repair done. Uh, didn't realize well-bound books could be done by machine. Well, I'm not sure they can. I mean, it's for me, it's comparing apples to oranges. A hand-bound fine leather binding is way up here as compared to the stuff that's going to get pumped out and mass produced. They're two different things. They're books. They're both books, but one's a Lada and one's a Rolls Royce. I prefer Rolls Royces myself. These are all excellent questions. I guess seeing how long it takes for quality. Again, um, I'm going to take longer to bind a book than you know somebody like Monique Lallier or Don Glaister or Don Etherington, or even my classmate Mike Privet there, the best bookbinder in all of Kentucky. because they have far more experience and they've been doing it a lot longer, and they do it more frequently than I do. So for me, like I've got one book here I've been working on for months and months and months, and maybe part of it is that I'm a little bit of a procrastinator too. I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that and get back to you. How many books do you think I have? Oh gosh, I bound. It would be a dozen or less, um, and that's the binding. Repair wise, I've done I've done quite a few now over the past 2 3 years, and of course, as word gets out that I'm able to provide the service, word of mouth spreads, and I more folks are calling and asking if I can help them out with a repair or a restoration, and I should, like I always do, tell you that I am not a conservator. So conservators do a whole different line of work, and basically they look down on guys like me. No, they don't. So I do repairs, and often, and I will tell a client this before we start, because they bring it in, we have a look, see what's needed, I'll give them an idea what it's going to cost. I charge by the hour, so it can add up quickly if it's a fairly intricate repair. But I tell them that some of the repairs are visible, most of them are not. But the end goal is to get it as solid, usable, healthy book again. My bird book is bound in teak and Moroccan leather. Oh, sounds beautiful. And you know what? There are no rules about what you can use for binding materials. It's up to you. And book artists, like many of the people I know, use unbelievable sorts of materials to cover their books, and the results are amazing and stunning. Okay, what's an average bind repair cost? Oh, average, I don't know, somewhere $100 plus or minus. Again, depends on what's needed, but I can't really do much in terms of repairs in less than a couple of hours. So yeah, 120 is kind of average, I guess. I not cringe when I see a book that has been repaired with duct tape. Oh my God, yes, right. Sometimes doing repairs is removing tape, and it can take a long time, and it's frustrating because what's tape in a book? That's the one by Benjamin. Nice. That catch, yeah. I had no idea there at Pike's Market that it was a thing. They're going to throw fish at their customers. That was pretty awesome. Okay, it is about time to wrap up. I thank you so much. It was so much fun. Saturday mornings are clearly the best time to do these. So remember, we're here Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturday mornings, 10:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time for the foreseeable future, because we're all staying home, right? Being safe, thoughtful, considerate of our fellow human beings, and it's the best thing that we can do. Get that curve flattened out. So I've been spending like half my life or more here in the bookstore, and that's okay. Dee is still working. She works in an industry that is vital to the ongoing success of our society. So appreciate people like Deanna, our frontline workers, folks that are going into work, keeping the machine working. Very much appreciated. Thank you to all of those folks. Yes, excellent. Okay, guys, we'll see you Tuesday morning. And if you're local, I'm happy to help you find a book. If you need a book, something to read, get in touch with me. We can do a contactless delivery or figure it out. Okay, thanks. Be safe. We'll see you Tuesday morning.